Okay, how about this? How about this? If I can find anything, we've got to organize this better. Okay, game data, gifts. We don't have a gift manager. And maybe as part of the gift manager, there are so many scripts on here. Is this, I guess this is RPG. Okay, so we want gifts. Gifts hasn't compiled, compile. Faster, Unity, come on. Faster, you can do it. Faster. Doing this makes it go faster. Okay, I'm sending my tentacle energy out into the universe. You gotta be very careful who you send your tentacle energy out to, okay? You can get into a lot of trouble. If you send your tentacle energy without consent to someone who doesn't want it, you can get it. That you're a very bad person. Always get consent before you send your tentacle energy out there. Just a little word of advice from a seasoned tentacle energy distributor. Did I just inadvertently call myself a wanker? I think I did. Right, it's fine. Anyway, what we are doing is we're making a gift manager. Okay, so the first thing we need is system collections generic. But that's not the main thing I want. So that's done. This keyboard's going to run out of battery today as well. I guarantee it. It's due to run out. Okay, so we want a list of gift items, which is going to be gifts equals new. We also want a public list of ints, which is levels equals new. And then we want a void awake, which is a for each transform child in transform. And we want gifts with a capital G. Gifts add child get component. Where's my caps lock? Get component gift item. Okay, now we have all our gifts. What we also want is a list of the amount of XP that it requires. No, sorry, it's not XP, but it's friendship points. So the amount of friendship points required to reach each affection level. So these are going to be the affection levels. Okay. Yeah, so first of all, let's just hit play and make sure that it finds all the gifts. It should do. There's all the gifts. Beautiful. Now we have access to the gifts. The levels, we know we want 6 entries because we go from level 0 to level 5. So level 0 requires, let me think how this should work. So you can't go beyond level 5. So actually I think we only need 5, because what we should put in here is the amount of friendship points that is required to reach the next level. I had it all mapped out somewhere. So we have do we have small, medium and large gifts? I think we do. Right, multiplier. Let me have a look at the gift item script. It's not on the gift item script. Do we have an affection script? I had this receive gift thing. For some reason I thought that said gift entity. Is it on the effect. No, because I don't think I made anything. I remember typing a function called receive gift. What did I give that to? Receive gift is on the personality class. I guess because the personality class contains the likes and dislikes of gifts. But really it probably should have been on this gifts system. Anyway, whatever. So we receive for a small. No, yeah, there's no. Okay, no, there is a small. Oh, let me think. Right, so what I'm trying to do is figure out how many points can we get. So this one's a multiplier of 3. Then we've got a multiplier of 2. We have a multiplier of 1. So that means the absolute least number of points we can receive is 5. And the absolute most number of points that we can receive is 60. So the points per gift is anywhere from 5 to 60. And that depends on both the size of the gift, as in, or we could call it quality, right? Is it no, just whatever, size, small, medium, large, right? Size, small, medium, large. And also the, let's say, fondness of said gift to the character receiver, the one receiving the gift. So let's say somebody's completely awesome, because it's not difficult. Let's say someone's completely awesome and they manage to score 60 points on every single gift giving interaction. We don't want them to level from 0 to like 5 immediately. So it should take, I think it should take about 3 gifts, or maybe like 2.5 gifts. I think 2.5 gifts is good. So what's 2.5 gifts? It's 120 plus 30, which is 150. That sounds ideal. So let's make it 150, and let's just increment it by 150 per gift for now. So then that'll be 450, then that'll be 600, and then that'll be 750. I'm tempted to make that 1,000 though. So this is how many friendship points it takes to hit the next level, essentially, is what this is going to be. Okay, so we can use that. We should also put the names of the levels in the description. Should we make a class? Okay, let's make a class. Let's make a class. Let me also just write those numbers down so I don't forget them. All right, let's make this class. So we'll put what, it's 150 for that one. It's 300 for that one. It's 450 for that one. It's not, it's actually how many points to hit the next level, right? So it's like, wait, yeah, because we don't need one for 5, because there is no level above 5, so that just becomes not applicable. That becomes not applicable. So what I could do is I could make a friend point class or something. Friend points. I probably should have just called it friendship or something. It doesn't really matter. We can call it whatever the frick we want. Okay, and then friend points will have an integer for next level, which is that number on the left, and then we want status we'll call it. The index will be self-managed. We don't need to put an index in there because the thing will already have an index. And I like the descriptions as well. We can put the descriptions in there. All right, now we've got a friend points class. So now we can go back to our gifts class and make this a list of friend points. And call it points. And we'll do the same thing here, but we're going to say oh, that's going to break things. Hang on. Okay, we'll put them in gifts and points. All right, so now we're going to have gifts, gifts, and points. So we want gifts where we put all our gifts. And points is where we're going to put our points. So we've got points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually need a 6th one though. You know what I like doing better than that? We don't even need... Let me just go change that class. This is redundant. Status is redundant. We'll use name for status. There we go. I like to keep things as simple as possible. And then that way, what we can do is we'll just grab each status name and we'll make it the name of the game object. Because it's just more efficient. And then we can see what it is. Alright, so now we can put points on there. We want to add each points, friend points. Good morning, Canthia. Are you pulling for Skirk? Already did. Didn't get her. I haven't hit 50-50 though. I haven't been playing the game, so I'm probably nowhere near pity. And I have not got time to grind like the game today. So yeah, there's a Spire of the Base I can do at some point. I'm just not right now. I got too much I need to do. I don't even really know whether I want her or not. I'll try to get it, but I'm not gonna like break my fucking neck over it. Game is just so dull. We don't even get a summer event now. Like, what happened to our summer events? We used to get a summer event every single summer. Now we don't even get that. Right, so I'm gonna put these descriptions in. You guessed it, the description. For some reason I'm putting that in every single one, which we don't want. Yeah, I don't think I've got anybody to use with her. I've only got Ganyu and Ayaka. Friend. And I suppose Seat Lali maybe. But then who would I use as a healer? Why's my nose switchy? She's mommy material. Like I mentioned, I think C team doing Genshin now, they're better teams are the other IPs. I think I just gave up. And they hate the player base. See, Lali and Yelan work. I hate Yelan. I've got her, I just don't like her. Yeah, I'll never play Yelan, I don't like her. Kindred Soul. Yeah, I don't think she's a character for me, to be honest. I do like her design though, so if I was getting her, I'd probably just want her just because I like her design. Right, now I need to put the numbers in. So it's 150 points to the next level. Then it's 300 points to the next level. Then it's 450 points to the next level. Then it's 600. Then it's 750. And there is no level above this, so we don't need one there. So I'll actually just put -1 in there so that we get, if we get any errors, we know why. Alright, so that's our affection levels mapped out. So I don't lose them, because I was worried about losing those. Right, they're saved under gifts. Let's make sure our gifts database and our points database work though. They should be fine. Gifts did, points didn't. I think I forgot to change the class. Yeah. And I also forgot to say that this is points that we're adding to. There we go. I won the 50-50 FPR her for her. Congrats. Yeah, I don't even know whether I wanna. Right, 24 gifts and 6 points. So it found everything, so that's good. So we can use our point leveling system for that. We need something similar for weapons, except the weapons we are going to have a lot more levels. So the first thing we need to decide is how high do our weapons level? Where did I put characters? Okay, I actually put it in the characters. I think that's actually the best place to put it. I think I'll put my weapon leveling algorithm on my actual weapons manager because that makes sense. And then what we do for characters is we store the base character stats. Then we store leveled character stats, and I don't know whether we'll probably store total character stats. There's a space for gear, but this is where things get weird. So gear is a combination. Yeah, I guess we probably would want that calculation. Then there's going to be a total. Gear is going to be a combination of weapons and armor. So what I did with characters is I stored the girl entity class, which is the class that has all of the stats on them. Why has everybody lost their stats again? I added these back in yesterday. Why are they now gone again? What the fuck? Oh no, they've gone from level. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, there we go. They're on base. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I panicked there. I was going to say that all that fucking work. Okay, they are there. Level's empty, which makes sense because level's dynamically generated anywhere. And so I think I'm going to want something similar for weapons. So these would be weapons base stats. Then they're also subdivided into weapon type category. There's a problem with my system that is making me very uncomfortable. And I need to address it now. So at the moment, my weapons automatically rank up and cap at 5. So they do the same thing that they do in Madoka by design. But I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. I'm wondering if I should change it. Because if I want to change it, now would be the time. I think characters are fine to do that, because you can't have two. You can't have two of the same character anywhere, right? So a duplicate copy of a character has to result in some form of rank up. So that's fine for characters to do it. But with weapons, you might get 2 5-star bows. And you might have 2 bow users that you really like. And rather than have 1 5-star bow that automatically ascends itself, that would make me super angry as a player. And maybe I'd rather give rank 2, rank 0 bows to each of my favourite bow characters. And the weapons going to have their own level XP. You might not need 2 for weapons. Yeah, but I'm talking about the rank system. So, do you remember how Madoka, as soon as you got another copy of a portrait, it would automatically ascend itself? Because I kind of liked that, and I'll be honest, it just felt like a good solution from me as the developer point of view as well. Because dealing with multiple copies of the same thing can be a little bit awkward. So I think it's impossible in Madoka. I think it's impossible to have 2 copies of the same portrait, because if you get a second copy of a portrait, it just automatically ranks up the original copy, and that's exactly what this game has been doing. Because I thought that would be the best way to do it. But the difference is Madoka has lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of portraits. So you essentially have a lot of choice of what you're going to put on your characters. But my game only has 1 5-star weapon of each type. And 3 4-star weapons of each type. So once you give your 5-star bow to one character, you can no longer, well, you could give it to another character, but not in the same party. You couldn't. And you'd have to equip and unequip it constantly. So I think maybe it shouldn't do that. I think maybe you should have to manually choose to manually rank it up. It's going to mean more work for me, but I think that's what I need to do. Rather than automatically rank it up. Like I say, it's fine for characters because you can't have a two C2 seat Lalis, for example. You can't have two C2 Skirks, right? You can have one at C4 or whatever the fuck that adds up to. I guess that would be C5. So you're going to make each weapon exclusive then? No, it just means it's going to require you. It just means you can have 10 5-star bows if you pull enough times on the gacha game. And if you want to feed one bow into another bow and then rank it up, you can do that, but you don't have to. But the way it's currently set up, that process automatically happens. You have no choice. It is technically, because again, it all depends on how you build the system, right? I've built the system at the moment to make it to be impossible, but that's going to fundamentally change the way. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to deal with the data structures behind that though. I guess this is why Genshin converts it into another item. I think I'm going to have to do something similar. No, but Genshin doesn't convert it into another item. Genshin converts characters into another item, but not weapons, because you can have 2 Staff of Homers on your account if you want, or you can choose to R1 the original Staff of Homer. So I need a system that supports the ability to do that. Shit. The reason this is technically difficult for the way I've set it up is because every gacha item has an ID, right? Weapon Bow 02 has an ID. Weapon Axe 05 has an ID. Weapon Sword 03 has an ID. And the way I've set it up is on the player data account, I've said this is how many copies they have, this is how many copies they have, this is how many copies they have. So, okay, here comes the problem, right? Is if I found out that the player has had 5 bows, now how do I tell whether the player has converted any of those bows to rank up an original bow or not? I can't do it with the current data structure. I would need to add another dimension of data. The reason I can't do that in this table is because the gacha pulls system writes the pull count to the column. That's how the entire gacha system works. So if I was to add a new dimension of data, I don't even know how that would work, because if I say rank 1, what does that mean? It would need, each bow would need to be registered separately, and I don't have enough entries in my database to do that. The way I was originally doing it is I was putting a serial number for each copy of the weapon that the player had, but it fills up quickly and it started producing errors. Also, this doesn't solve the problem, because if you pulled O2I J094MN2, which was your fourth copy of the weapon bore 02, how do I know if you put 02I J094MN2 into IJN2JB4JHBB? By looking at that data struct alone, I can't. So I would still need a new dimension of data. Now, given that this was generating errors, because the pull system was struggling to get all this data and then retain it and then add its data to the thing and then put it back into the thing, every now and again it would cause an error. And the risk of it creating an error would be that you'd lose everything on your account. You would lose all your boars all at once. If it made a mistake, you would lose all your boars just like that. So that would be bad. Whereas this seems reliable to just update the count, because I have like a fallback system. I don't know how I can solve this. The only real way I can think of to solve it would be to store 5 boars in WW03, and then in some separate player data field we basically create entries that represent each ID, like a table, a list. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? 2, 3. 4. Now I need some way to know whether any of those copies of WW03 were sacrificed to rank up. So the next thing I would need is a rank. Now WW033 was fed into W3, was fed into WW030. I could change this value to -1 to say that the item is now hidden, and apply the ranking value to whichever one they put it in. And then I could do a mathematical calculation to make sure, imagine 0 equals 1, because 0 is index 0. So then I say, okay, 2 copies here, 1 copy here, 1 copy here, -1 copy here, and 1 copy here. Does that add up to this number here? If it does, then it's probably legit. If it doesn't, then the player's probably cheating, and we insta-ban them. that is probably how it's going to have to work, but oh boy. That's a lot more data I now have to handle. And I don't know whether these keys are already taken or not. It's totally what I meant to type. Fucking Unity, seriously. So they're armor pieces. Yeah, we're not currently doing anything like that, but there is a limit to how many records you can manage for free on this service. I don't want to exceed my cap. I'm likely going to get thousands of players. That's what my last game got. And we still need a functioning game though. So like, it is what it is. Where the fuck did I put gacha assets? Player data, gacha assets, weapons. So I imagine it's the gacha assets management system that is responsible for updating load protected key. We fetch from gacha, but how do we know if it's the first time we've fetched from gacha? So the first thing I would need to do on fetch is identify weapon copy ID, let's call it copy index, then check to see if copy index has pdata registration. Yes, load and store in memory. No, create, update and store in memory. So I need a function in here. It's going to need to be a private string function. Although we can do a get out, can't we? We have on P data, I think we have. Let's have a look at my functions on player data. What do I have? Save profile, load string. So I could do a load string test. Okay, so this should be a private void. Which is going to be check weapon. And we're going to take an index of copy index and a string of weapon key. So then I'm going to say try catch, and in try we're going to say await. Hang on, we need string output equals system player data load string weapon key, and that needs to be an await. Oh fuck off, autocorrect. Oh my god, I want to kill somebody. Right, okay, now it's a private async task. That's fine. So we try to get an output on the weapon key in player data. And then we should try to do a system convert. Then we should say get index equals system convert to integer 32 output. Should we return? I think we do. I still think we make this an integer function that returns the copy index or -1. So we could do int return index equals -1. Make this a private async integer task. Right, if it catches, then we actually need to create and update the data. We have the weapon key and we have the copy index. So if the copy index isn't stored against the weapon key, wait, because we're going to need to split this data as well. So this needs to be our data struct here. So we can't just do that. We need to do a split as well, because we're going to be storing the copy index with a colon and the rank. So we're going to say string split out equals output dot split with a colon separator. Why doesn't it like that? Why doesn't it like that? Can it implicitly? Oh, yeah. That needs to be an array. Then we can say we're only interested in split out at position 0. There we go. Okay. Now, if it fails, then that means it probably means that the player just obtained this weapon on the gacha. So we need to create a weapon, a record for it. No, also this needs to contain multiple entries, so we need 2 dimensions of split. So we'll do yeah. So what our data structs? Well, no, that's copy index though, isn't it? Yeah, but we can't do because we can't do. What we can't do is put. We can't just do 0, 1, 0, like 0, 1, 0, 6, because like where does the data separate, right? What the fuck is even what there? So we need to separate it with a second separator so that we know which one is each entry. So we do need a separate, we're going to need a CSV. So the copy index is going to be the first split using commas. So our first split is going to be with commas. Then we need to split again. Let me try and word this better so that it doesn't confuse me in the future. This is split copies. This is split copy data. And we want split copies at copy index dot split using the colon separator. Then what we're actually trying to convert is the index. If that falls out of range, we land in here. So if we get this far down, then it means that we have an entry in split copies at copy index, and split copy data should be system convert split copy data in position 0. What that should contain, so in our test, let's say we query copy index 3. In our test, copy index 3 will go 0, 1, 2, 3, and it's going to take that. Then it's going to try and split it again at the colon, and we're going to get that, and it's going to return 0. 0 is incorrect anyway, because this is a bad example, because I actually put that every single copy index is 0. What this should do is go up in sequence 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I guess we are we want to make sure that this matches copy index. Yeah, it's weird to return the copy index, but we can do that sanity check on the other end, I guess. What we should always get from this function is we should get the copy index returned back to us as an integer, which shows that the index was successfully registered against this data in private data. Okay, if any of this fails, then we need to create the record. But first we need to retain any data that's already in there. So we still need a string output, get string data at string weapon key. Then what we're going to do is we should check to make sure, wait, do we even know what the copy index is? Yeah, we should do, because the gacha, yeah, that's true. The gacha poll system lets us know how many copies of each thing that we've got. So this is actually pretty foolproof. This is actually an extra the way I'm making this, actually, it's an additional layer of security, because what we can now do is, okay, we're in a piece of code that says, okay, the player apparently has just obtained a new weapon from the gacha system, and the ID that we send, that the gacha system gives us, will be passed to this function. So we can now check the previous entry against the player and make sure it's this -1, because if it's anything else, something's severely wrong. But it should be this -1. So we should have a sequence that says something like, so if you've got your 4th sword or whatever, right, your 4th WW03 sword, you should have something that looks like this. There's your first copy, there's your second copy, there's your third copy. So now I can go back and look at this number and say, okay, so you've just received a copy index of 3. I'm going to check your previous entry and make sure that it was for weapon copy index 2. Because if it wasn't, then maybe you're cheating and trying to get free weapons. So we'll do that now. So we still want to do all of this. So we'll sanity check to make sure that that copy index, so with the previous copy index, so we still want to split at commas. This time we want to say copy index -1. We're looking at the previous entry, and get index should system convert to integer 32. Then we're going to say if get index is the same as copy index -1, then we can go ahead and successfully give them the weapon. So successfully giving them the weapon would mean output plus equals colon plus copy index. This is this copy of the weapon plus a plus. Sorry, that's not a colon, that's a comma. Comma plus copy index plus colon plus 0. In fact, we can just add the 0 in there. There we go. Because it's obviously going to be a rank 0 weapon. You can't pull anything above a rank 0 on the gacha system. Then we want to output. Then we want to send that output back to the save system. So we can say system play data save string weapon key output. And that wants to be in await. Hang on, and I think there's a flag in there as well. It says whether we're updating. Yeah, update next is false. There we go. Beautiful. So now we have a very, very beautiful function. And what this function will do is it will return the copy index for a weapon that we query it on. And if we get the same index back, If we get the same index back, then we know that this is an old weapon on the player's account, right? And it's already, we already know about it. If we get -1 back, it means that the weapon wasn't found on the system, but if it looked legitimate, we added it, and if it didn't, then we didn't, basically. So now we need to test this. So now whenever we update gacha, no, we fetch gacha on a weapon, if acquisition is asset weapon, for each acquisition asset weapon in weapons, we load the protected data, we have a new quantity, which is this value here. So what we can do is we can say, let's put that in there, let's make that an int, get, wait, this is a quantity. Yeah, so this would be, quantity is basically copy index +1. I don't know, let me check that. We might be counting from 0. I need to know whether I'm counting from 0 on the system or not. No, I'm counting from 1 because we literally, as a fallback, we set old quantity to 0. And I think if we look at the gacha assets system that I made, I set all the defaults of every gacha item to quantity 0. Yeah, because quantity is like self-descriptive, right? We shouldn't be counting from 0. We should count from 1. Right. So now asset weapon new quantity equals get quantity. And then we want to do integer get result equals await check weapon using get quantity -1, because the copy index counts from 0 but quantity counts from 1. And it wants a weapon key, and our weapon key is asset weapon dot name. We actually also defined it as key there, so we can say key. Oh, it's copy index first, isn't it? Copy index then key. That's how we set it up. Copy index then key. There we go. Now it's happy. So just to make sure that's working, I'm going to do a debug log and say weapon check was initialized for, and we'll say the key, and then we'll say dot 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 result, and then we'll return the get result. There we go. All right, let's check it. So now when it loads my gacha assets for the first time on this account, it should see them all as new weapons. Actually, I don't know if it'll work because we don't have... Ooh, let me think about that. No, because what's going to happen... Okay, I need to put a safety check in here. On the first copy of the weapon, it's going to try to go to index -1, which is an illegal index. So where's my check weapon function? So here, where I try to say copy index -1, I need to only do this. Oh fuck. if copy index is greater than 0, and we need to else that out. Right, if copy index is greater than 0, then we can do all that. Otherwise, the else is going to be, we're going to have to add it without the safety check. But it's fine because we know it's the first copy anywhere. I don't know though, are we actually doing this for every single copy? Are we just pulling the number of copies? Oh shit. I don't know. If we're just pulling the number of copies, then it means we don't run this function. Oh, either one, it doesn't really matter.
Matter?
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, whichever. Oh, thanks. I was assuming that we were running this function on every single individual weapon that the player owns. But I don't think we are. I think it's a single query that's returning the quantity of a particular weapon. If that's true, which actually I think it is, then this won't work. This will only try to create the last weapon, like assuming that only one weapon has been obtained since the database was blank. But that's not true for two reasons. Well, first of all, new players, well, that should never happen in the wild anyway, because by the time the game's finished, every single weapon is obtained from the gacha in some form of linear order, but you can get multiple copies of the same weapon in the same 10 pull, so it still needs to be able to handle adding multiple weapons at the same time. So if this query is simply returning a quantity, which I think it is, then this function won't work at all. Yeah, also what we're essentially doing, yeah, we're getting the number of copies. Yeah, this little security check of mine is kind of dumb actually. I thought it was genius, but it's actually dumb. Because essentially what we're doing is we're saying, look, the gacha system just told us that we have 6 copies of this weapon. You'd better make sure that the last copy of the weapon was copy number 5. Otherwise, the player's cheating. Well, not necessarily. What if you got 3 copies of the same weapon in the same 10 pull? That number would jump up by 3 in one go. So that was kind of dumb, actually. Also, what I need to do is I need to figure out, okay, if not all these weapons already have a registration in the key pair, then I need to figure out how many copies are missing whilst also retaining the original data. Because I could just construct the data from scratch, right? And I could just say, okay, well, we'll just add these, we'll just create these numbers from scratch. But that's not going to work, because if you changed your first copy of your weapon to rank 5 and you maxed it out, and then I go in and I say, oh wait, we're missing some data here, let me just go and rebuild it, then I'm going to fucking take your 5 ranks of weapon right off you and wipe it out, and you're going to be like, what the fuck? Why is my weapon back to rank 1? Well, it's because I'm a bad programmer. So we don't want to do that. Well, hopefully I'm not a bad programmer because I considered it right. But that would be a bad programmer. So not only do we need to retain the original data structure because that has the important ranking information in for the player, But we also need to figure out how much of the sequence is missing, so we only rebuild the missing part of the sequence. Oh boy. Okay. Let's completely rewrite this function. Even this one assumes. Actually, I might ask Jipity to help me with this because I'm genuinely struggling a little bit. Okay, let's just see if Jipity can help me flesh this out. I could probably do it, but I bet Jipity can do it so much faster. This is the issue with AI, though. People are going to get lazier and lazier and lazier. We're going to get less and less competent at solving our own problems. And then when it all fucking ends one day, we're going to be running around like fucking helpless chickens, not knowing how to even feed each other. We're going to be picking peanuts out of each other's fucking hair and like grooming each other like apes because we'll just be so stupid we can't do anything for ourselves. But you know what? I embrace it. Let's embrace it. Let's do it. All right. I mean, you can't fight it, right? You can't fight. What am I going to do? Am I going to struggle for another hour with this? Like, I could just ask GPT, right? And it might just give me the answer. We probably will. But you see where the danger lies, right? We're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it until eventually, and AI is going to get better, and we're going to get dumber and dumber. And before long, it's going to be like, AI, how do I make a cup of tea again? Oh, will you just do it for me? Here's your cup of tea, sir. No, fuck that. My AI is going to be sexy as fuck. She's going to be like, it's going to be like fucking Wuthering Waves. Here's your cup of tea, sir. And she'll like bash me in the face with her big massive boobs. I'll be like, ah, shit, thank you. Oh, wow. What am I... Shut up. Get some work done. Right, okay, let's get some work done. So basically, what we're doing is... I'm going to show it this. I'm going to say... Help! Okay, no, I'm going to say... I'm not really... Well, I am. Am I struggling? I am a little bit. I'm struggling with a function which I need to keep track of weapon ranking in my Unity RPG. Goal: player can put copies of weapons into each other to rank them up to rank 5. This, I feel like this would even take too long to explain to Jipity, to be honest, exactly what I'm trying to do. On the key WW03, I need to store copy index rank, which must be retained when adding new ones. But since they are awarded in gacha system, multiple copies can be obtained at the same time. So I will need to only add the missing entries. I don't know if it's going to be able to help me. This function is ran when the gacha system reports how many copies of a weapon the player has obtained. In the example above, if this function receives copy index 6, we should add 5060 to the player data string. Can you help me complete this? All right, let's see. I feel like I was struggling to even explain what it actually was that I wanted there. Let's see what we get. I probably should just do this, to be honest. Thanks for explaining your goal. It's clear now that you're storing weapon upgrade data as a comma separated string like this. Yeah, each entry is copy index rank, and when a new copy index is awarded via gacha, you want to append any missing intermediate entries up to and including the new one, defaulting them to rank 0. Yes. Okay, it does seem to understand exactly what I want. I must have done a good job explaining. I'm going to pat myself on the head though, because if I hadn't explained that very clearly, then we wouldn't be anywhere. Yes, I was good at asking the AI to do it for me. I was very, very good at doing that. I deserve some praise. Just let me have this one. All right, it's my birthday in 2 days. Right. Okay. It gave us a function. Let me just read it though. Don't just run code that you don't read. Yeah, but it's saying, why is it saying output 0, 0? It must retain any previous rankings. I feel like it's adding. For each string entry in entries, if parts length equals 2 and int try parse parts 0 out int idx, existing indices add. Wait, what the fuck is this? It's creating a hash set. Oh, this is way too complicated. It's creating a list of strings called entries, which it's putting output.split at comma into a list. Okay, so they're our entries. Good description, Jibity. I'll give you that one. So that will give us like 0, 0 or whatever. But why is it pre-baking output? I don't know why I used the word baking. Why is it pre-setting output to 0:0? I'm very concerned about that. If string is null or empty, okay, that's only in the situation where we have no player data. Okay, I can kind of see what it's doing. All right, let's see if this works. So if this works, am I baking a cake? No. I'm going shopping with my mum. I'm helping my mum go shopping tomorrow. Stepdad's still in the hospital. Well, first of all, she wanted to go on my birthday. I was like, I am not going shopping on my birthday. It's my birthday. No, that is not happening. I said, do you want to go a different day? Then she suggested Saturday, and I poo-pooed that as well because I'm like, no, it's going to be crazy busy on a Saturday. I'll tell you what, we'll go tomorrow. And then that way it's the day before my birthday, and then I said I can have a look and see if there's anything nice that I want, that I want to eat on my birthday then. Like I'm not really a big cake person, I'll be honest. I don't really like cake. I don't hate it, but I don't particularly like it. So for me, it's probably going to be something more like, I don't know, a pack of pancakes or I don't know, donuts or something like that. But yeah, I will look for something that I maybe would enjoy. And then get that as well. Right, let's run our system and see what happens. But also, should Birthday Boy really be baking his own birthday cake anywhere. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't even really like cakes. I would never do that. Because way too much effort for something I don't even particularly enjoy. But I would say, I might just do that. I would make pancakes. I do like pancakes. Okay, it's still doing shit. It's saying weapon check was initialized for WW08. So it is being result 0. Wait, oh no, but they're each and every individual weapon type, not each and every copy of every single said weapon. So what we should find is, if we go into player data now, if that all worked correctly, we didn't get any errors, so that's a good sign. If that all worked correctly, it should now say it should have tracked every single weapon. Now this would never happen in the real world because I've gone gacha crazy to test this game. Probably done more pulls than the player's ever going to be able to do because of, I had to test it and get everything. So there will be way more copies of weapons here. Yeah, it seems to have done it perfectly, look. So it's gone in and it said, there's your first copy of the weapon Axe 1. And it's gone all the way to the end. 16 copies. So we count from 0, so that's 17 copies. So it's managed to do 17 copies of that, 15 copies of that, 10 copies of that, 7 copies of that, 16 copies of that, 2 copies of this. I'm guessing these are the 4 stars now. Yeah, 1 copy. Whoa, but we got to be careful. Do I actually own? Let me just make sure this lines up. It's not adding a copy when there isn't a copy, is it? Because that would be bad. Okay, no, apparently we do have 1 copy of that. And we have 2 copies of that. 8 and 9. Yeah, no, apparently we do. Okay. It looks like it's working perfectly. So now all we need to do is when we want to rank a weapon up, which the player will now initiate by merging 2 weapons together, we take the old copy. So let's say you wanted to do this WA03, okay? And let's say you wanted to use your 6th copy, which is index 5. I will change your rank on your 6th copy to -1, which tells me that you sacrificed this weapon in the name of Jesus. And then I will update your, let's say you put it into your very first copy. That's now rank 1. I'm going to change your rank from 0 to 1. And then I can do some kind of sanity check to make sure the second column of numbers all add up to the same number of copies of weapon that you've had. Because if they don't, then someone's being a naughty little cheater. Right. So we now have the correct number of dimensions to deal with manual weapon rankings. So I feel a lot better now. This seems to have worked perfectly. I'm actually really pleased with that. I should have a list of materials because I am a material streamer. No, I'm not. I don't know why I said that. I thought I said anal. I was going to say, what the fuck are we doing with anal stuff in the game? It's family friendly. But it says analog grit. Anal grit. Yeah, you don't want that. Well, maybe you do, but not. This isn't the time or place, right? You save your anal grit for a different stream. Alright, this ain't the stream for that. Sorry, I've got to draw the line somewhere. Alright, I have to draw the line at anal grit. I have to. Okay, it's for your own good. Happy birthday. Thank you. It's not for 2 days though, but thank you anyway. Yeah, it is Friday. Friday already. Okay, so we can see that in our weapon mats, a small weapon upgrade material will award 2000 XP. A medium upgrade material will award 5000 XP, and a large... Wait, that goes up a bit much, doesn't it? Oh, I suppose it's... Yeah, no, that's supposed to say 10,000, I think. It says 100,000. Yeah, that's a mistake. That should be 10,000. So it's 2,000, 5,000, and 10,000 XP awarded from small, medium, and large weapon upgrade materials. So now we need to update player data and inventory, which is my closet thing. With the number of materials. Oh my god, why is my atomizer not working? It's been dodgy like this for a few days actually. Where is player data? There it is. Do we have any record of materials yet? No, I didn't think we would. Wait a minute, we might actually. We have materials. We do. We have P materials. So we set up a class for it. What does said class look like? It says how many quantities of each material we have. Is that coming from anywhere? Oh, PMATs? Yeah, I did. Alright, I already set it up. Oh, beautiful. I forgot. This is such a complicated tangle of systems. I can't even remember what I've done. Let's make sure that's actually pulling it from the server though. I think it is. Let's pretend we have 199 of those. Right, let's say we only have 9 of those, 19 of those, 29 of those, 39 of those, 49 of those, 59 of those, 99 of those, 199 of those, and 999 of those. And now we're going to run it and make sure that these numbers in here update. If they do, then I guess we already... Yep, that's working perfectly. 9, 19, 29. Okay, so we already have materials tracked and updated on player data. Good me, I did actually do something in the past and didn't save it for poor future me. Okay, so now we have materials. I have got to not get lost in my own sauce. There it is. That's what I was looking for. I really am losing my mind. I thought that said penis. It says panels. Why am I seeing naughty words and I don't even know why. I'm totally losing my mind. Characters panel, weapons. The one we want to add now is upgrade. How does one upgrade a weapon? Well, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse is what it's going to be. Okay, so what we are going to need on the weapon panel, I'm going to duplicate weapon. I'm going to say, let's make an upgrade system, because whether it's going to look different for armor though, because armor has a square icon. I don't know why I'm talking like this. All right, we'll do it. Why did I make the icons inconsistent? This is why consistency is better. Because what I was going to do is I was going to make one system that upgrades a piece of gear, and it didn't matter whether it was a weapon and it didn't matter whether it was a piece of armor. We would simply have a toggle where we could switch between the two material types that it was looking for and then the thing that we're targeting, right? I can't do that now because I made my gear icon square, my armor icon square, and my weapon icons oblong. So I'm going to need to make two variations of the interface anyway. It's fine. But this is why I always like consistency. Alright, web upgrade. Do you win a prize for making it first place? Yeah, I won a prize for second place last time. Yeah, you get money to spend on the asset store, which is ironic because I don't really use the asset store. But I'm not doing it for the prize. I'm doing it for the recognition. And the experience of actually doing it, right? I would be making this game anyway regardless. This is the game I want to make. Yeah, I don't use the asset store because I like to make everything myself from scratch. I have more control that way. And that's what I enjoy doing more than anything else. The part of game making that I enjoy the most is making systems. It's a good job as well because games are fucking dozens and dozens and dozens of systems. So if you don't like making systems, well, if you don't like making systems, you use Unreal Engine, basically. And you use all of their systems. But oh my god, that's like my worst nightmare because it's like I've got to operate within these bounds of this little box that you've given me, and it's like, no, I want to make my own box. Fuck you. That's what I enjoy doing. And I can make it how I want then. It is a lot more work, but you know, I think it's nice. And the asset store is kind of weird, right? Because the asset store is kind of like Unity's way of being more like Unreal Engine. Like, oh, hey, you don't need to do this all your life. You could just get some assets on the asset store and then try and throw some things together with that. But it's like, oh. I try to use this. The only asset I'm using, I'm using one asset store item on this in this entire game, and that is text animator for the subtitles because it's quite a nice little text animator thing. And even that I had to go in and fix parts of it because there's parts of it that wasn't sending the event messages back correctly, so I had to go in and edit the code. So yeah, I don't get along with other people's assets and other people's code so well because I have my own way of doing things, right? Some people got good results from their box. Oh yeah, I'm not saying you can't make a good game with it. It's just, it's not the kind of game I would want to make. Because you're very restricted, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure you could make a great game if if your kind of thing, like if you enjoyed, see, that's the part I don't like as much. If all you want to do is put trees on the ground and, you know, enemies over here, and, you know, you're more about the, you know, the organization of the play and everything, which I don't mind some of that up to a point. Do you know, if that's your kind of thing, is putting the pieces in the right places, then yeah, that's for you. But I'm more a person who likes to design the pieces and then get them to fit together. Like design my own jigsaw system, essentially. And the placing of the jigsaw pieces I'm not as fond of. But, you know, it's a part of the process still. Well, that's why this game is not really going to be like that. It's not going to have that many pieces of jigsaws placed together. It's going to be a system that runs things, you know, mostly by itself. So yeah, it's going to be very stat driven, very system driven. I suppose we probably would want to watch the stats go up and stuff, though. Okay, so now I have this as my work area. Right, so now I need to think about what the interface looks like. What do we want from our interface? I think we use this area here to display the copies of materials in a grid. So our upgrade materials all line up here. So you can go and tick them and watch the level. Oh yeah, we need to show a level as well. That's alright, we can put like level up here. I want an auto button. Which automatically will just add the materials to put it all in until you hit the cap. And I guess we need like an apply and a cancel. So I think the auto the auto one needs less rounded corners than that because it's a much smaller box. You're not going to apply that to that, are you? No, good. There we go. So we'll have auto, and then we want apply how do I resize that? And cancel. Okay, so I think that's what it should look like. So we show our materials along here. We have auto, we have apply, and we have cancel. Okay, we actually don't have any feather. I thought we had feather on there. Actually, let's try inner shadow. Actually quite like this color. So hard to get a gradient to go exactly the way I want it. Okay, image upgrade select. That is the opposite of what I wanted. I like darker better, I think. Okay, so our next thing that we need is we're going to need a grid on this. Don't know whether we have the upgrade mats in the project or whether we're pulling them from URL. We have them as materials. Wait, really? Was that just for creating them though? Also, this needs to go. This looks horrendous. They're actually materials. No, they're not. Yeah, they're called materials. Upgrade materials. They're not actually Unity materials. Okay, thank God. I was going to say, right, which one is our weapons? So our weapons are these square ones here. So we have a small, we have a medium, and we have a large. So there we go. Actually, I need to put that in a scrollable area. Unless I just say how many of each one, in which case we can save a lot of space. Yeah, that might make more sense actually. Because, like, I'm not a fan of this, right? Like, why are you showing me 6,000 when I have 6,000 of these? Why are you just showing me 6,000 individual materials? So I think it should be a situation where it stacks each material that is the same, and we just display a number, and as you're clicking it, you can make the number go up or you can make the number go down, right, by repeatedly clicking it. So we need to set that up. Where the hell is... Oh yeah, there it is. So now that I've seen what that actually looks like, yeah, we've got wasted space here. Like, why do we have so much space if we're just going to show a number of how many of each of these we have? We're never ever going to fill this space, so it's a waste of space. So now that I can see how big that looks, let's go and fix that and reclaim that space. So I guess we dock everything over here, we cut this off here, and then we've just got some space here. Now what, well, we could put our, yeah, I think we put our apply and our cancel like over here nice and big now. So let's go back to the drawing board, as it were, and we're going to start again. Okay, let's just start completely from scratch. Don't need any of these. Okay. We want a radius of 20 for this one, I think, and 10 for the other one. Let's do 15. No, I do. Okay, I did like the original one. Okay, so now I think we just kind of cut that off about there. Like, we're never going to have more than 3 showing because we've only got a small, a medium, and a large, and we're just going to show how many for each one. Since we're moving a lot of our buttons, actually we might want to just make this bigger then and make it take up more of this space, and then have our auto button here, and then we got our confirm and our cancel there. What do you think about this? We could go like up to there now, something like that. And then we put our auto button. Ooh, too much radius, too much radius. Video kill the radio star. Why do I keep singing these old shit songs? I don't even like them. I don't even like them. Right, so that'll be our auto button. Not sure exactly where it's gonna go. Somewhere around there. And then one of these wants to be apply, and then one of them wants to be like cancel. Doesn't really matter which way around we do it. Whichever one feels more natural. I'm inclined to feel like it should be the far right. Not because I'm Hitler or anything. I just feel like it should be the far right that applies it, and then the left one cancels. I don't know, it just feels more intuitive to me that we go down to this corner to apply our upgrade. Just feels better to me somehow. Again, not that I'm Hitler or anything. Right, so okay, we're looking good, we're looking good. Don't need that anymore. We're going to duplicate the image. And with our duplicated image, we're gonna tackle these one at a time. So our main boy, this is our main boy, yeah. I'm gonna rasterize that. Rastafari! No, we're not gonna turn him into Bob Marley, not like that. Okay, so we went in a shadow, and then we gave it this really nice little gradient. I think that looks nice. And then we actually darkened it some more in Unity because I'm a dark horse. Okay, I'm going to overwrite the original URL select. URL select? Why did I say URL select? I don't know why I said that. URL select. Image upgrade select is actually what it's called. Actually. Actually. I don't want to be the actually guy. Actually. Okay, I wanna blah, 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 well, it's okay because we can inspect the size of these. We can inspect the size of these icons and see what their original aspect ratio is, because they obviously want to be wider than that, especially now. But yeah, I think I'm feeling that. I think I'm feeling it. Can you feel it? Stop singing shit songs. Actually, I don't mind that song. That song's actually not bad. Can you feel it? But I don't know, there's something a little bit concerning about Michael Jackson asking you if you can feel it. Feel what exactly, Michael? What are you wanting me to feel? Okay, I think that looks kind of good. Doesn't look at all like Second Life. Okay. So we're also going to want the numbers on here. So let's say this is our number boy. Because he was a number boy. He liked all those numbers, boy. He knew that 1 and 1 was 2. He was a number boy. You don't have his number, boy. Oh, wow, I'm getting really good at this. Because he can't afford a fucking phone. He was a number boy. I'm running out of ideas now. I've run out of lyrics. Alright. This is where we leave it to the experts. This is where we're not a country and western singer. I want a nice thick, I don't know, it wants to be like, ooh, I don't even know whether we've got the right font for this. Maybe Oswald could do it. And maybe Roboto. Roboto. So let's say you had 99. What do we do? Do we show? I feel like we show 2 numbers, don't we? Don't we show, like, it feels like we should be showing how many is going in on one side and how many you have somewhere else. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking something like this. Ooh. But now I need to, like, reverse engineer the interface, right? Because I'm all about making clear, concise interfaces. If you saw this, you would understand, I think, intuitively, I dare say, that you have 999 smiley faces and you're going to put 99 into this weapon. Especially considering that 99 would have started at 0 and it would have now gone up to that. Maybe, but also I think this number should show how many you will have left when you hit apply, right? So if this starts at 0 and this is at 999, I think when that goes to 1, that should go to 998 so that it's constantly showing you. What it will be. What it will be. I think that's intuitive. I think that makes sense. So in that, if that was the case, then this would be our TXT add, I guess. The number that we are adding. And this would be our TXT remain, the number we will have remaining. And then we can update these numbers as the player is clicking. So we also need a button on here So if we go and add a button class, there we go. I'll use that button as the button class. Are we happy with this? I think I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, so this needs to be added in as a prefab now. So if we go to our prefabs, this will be our button material squad. Now, why is it a material squad? It's a material squad because it's this. Because there's two types of materials. There is. If we go back to our materials, there's the longer material. Actually, there's 3 different versions. Let's just call it mat WAD for weapon add. Yeah, I think they're all actually all different shapes. I think Windows shows it better. Nobody shows it better than Bill Gates. Makes me feel bad for Linus Tech Tips. They're a bit more oblongian. Oblongian? Oh, that's fancy. Yes, they're a bit more oblongian in the, you know, in their composition than one first anticipated. So I think what we need to do is oblongify its container a little bit more until those faces look perfectly round. So that would be our oblongification. I think that's, let's move it down a little bit. Yeah, I think that's our oblongification. I think that's pretty good. We could also show like a tick, like a little check mark. A lot of these games add like ticks when they're selected. To zoom in because my eyes 400 years old. Shit, I just told you my real age. Yes, I'm an alien from the planet Fap. We are a lost civilization. stroke it on the inside, just like my brethren. Okay, now we need a beautiful, beautiful little tick. Check mark clip art. Clip ars. How are we feeling about ticks? What do we think? Which one speaks to us? Which one really, really speaks to us? It's actually incredible how many of these I actually hate. Like, it's just a tick. Why do I hate so many of these? But I just do. I don't know, like, they're all over, like, most of them are like over designed. I just want a simple tick. You know, I'm a simple man. I just want a simple tick. I don't want anything too fancy. This one's quite nice. Yeah, this is a simple tick. This is the kind of simple tick that I've been looking for all my life. You know? I don't want no fancy airs and graces ticks. Alright? I don't need your freaking life story, Mr. Checkmark. I just want a simple tick. I don't need all the soap opera to go with it. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Now we could make it pop out of the box, but I haven't really given myself room for that. So I think I'll just go with that. This can be our little tick to show that, yes, you have selected this one, young Skywalker. Young Skinwalker. Skinwalker, Skywalker. Are they related? Probably. Yeah, also it was looking a bit cramped, so I've given him a little bit more. I think that's good. I think that's good. It's probably way too big, to be honest, but it's fine. Okay, so we now have an image check. Which we're going to add to this component. So that when one has selected. I remember when Queen Elizabeth was talking about this, and she said, when one has selected said upgrade material, one should be properly notified. And you know what? Her words will haunt me to this day. So that's why we make sure we add this now. And I think that's saying everything it needs to say, isn't it, really? I think that's conveying the correct sort of message, you know, to the player in a very concise and accurate and meaningful way. And that's all we can really ask for. I think that totally tickles my giblets. Yeah, I think that's looking good. I think it's looking real good. So that'll be our image check. To say that one has selected. Fuck off, caps lock. We're always the wrong way around. You have a 50-50 chance, just like Skirk. Alright, we've got a 50-50 chance of getting the caps lock toggle the correct way around. What do? Fail it. Over and over and over again. Make me look stupid. Well, I'm sick of it. Alright. It's alright, we'll calm down. These look a little bit on the tall side. I'm just going to squish them down a little bit. I want this to be all it can be. Are we happy with them all being black? Or do we want like any kind of color variation on those? I think they're okay at black. Very legible black. I like things very clear and legible. You know what? I think what I might do, I might just make the remain a little bit lighter. So it's a little bit more sort of like that. I think it looks good. Alright, so we're now ready to add our prefab to the prefabs folder. Because we're very, very happy about that. Did it go in? Button, matte, weapon, add. There it is. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, it went blue as well. That's how I know it worked. Actually, I think I'm a big fucking idiot. Do you know why? Because we don't need a prefab, because we're not instantiating them. Because we only have these three possibilities anywhere. So I think we should just show them all anywhere. And if you don't have any, we just say 0, 0, 0. Do you know what I mean? We'll leave it, I guess we'll leave it as a prefab. We'll leave it as a prefab. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to... I'm going to do S for small. Also, do we want it to go in size order or do we want it in reverse side order? Which one feels more natural? See, you've got to ask these questions. I know it seems like I overthink everything, and I probably do. But seriously, like, just imagine you're in the interface for the first time. You're an alien creature from the planet Zorbulon. Okay, and you're looking at this for the first time and you're like, okay. It's time to upgrade your weapon. And you're like... What feels more intuitive? Does it feel more intuitive that as I click this, the XP goes up faster? Or would it be the other way around? Would you expect the first one that it's giving you to be the fastest XP and do it in reverse size order? Because I kind of feel like reverse size order makes more sense, actually. Do large, medium, and then small. Because that way it's almost like saying, look, if you have the good one, you're going to want to use that one. But then also, now we get into like... Now we get into tricky territory as well, because what if you only need 10 more XP to level your weapon up? If we auto-select, and this is getting into even deeper territory now, if you had 99 of each of these, and then I use your expensive material, your big XP material, to give you that extra 10 XP when I could have used a small one, then you'll be rightly furious. You'd be throwing chairs around the living room. I would expect you to be. I know I would. I'd be like, what the fuck? Why'd you do that? Right? I'd be so mad. Because I shouldn't be doing that, right? I shouldn't be taking more off you than I need. That would be small, medium, large, the way we had it. Now these things are two separate issues, right? Which one feels more intuitive if you're clicking them as a human being is a completely different problem to how am I going to make sure I don't take the large material off you if you only need 10 XP? Well, we can do some if statements and stuff like that. That's a separate issue. When we click the auto button, it should take the least expensive thing it can to complete your weapon leveling. So it's not the, like I say, it's not the end of the world if it does do that, but you know, yeah, we shouldn't really do that if we can avoid it. We've got to try and be smart about everything. It also depends how grindy your game is, right? If your game's grindy as fuck, then yeah, that becomes more annoying than it would if the game's pretty chill. I think I'm right though. I think I want them the other way around. I think it makes more sense to use the higher upgrade, the large, the medium, and the small in that order. I can't even say why. It just, I think that feels more intuitive. I think it's because if you're in a hurry, are you more inclined to tick the big one on the left without thinking about it, given that we read from left to right? I don't know, each person's probably different, right? I think I would probably click the one on the left though. I would start by clicking these ones, because I normally work from left to right just because we read from left to right. So if the game's already put the large, small, large, medium, and then small in that order for me, I would find that more intuitive, I think. Alright, let's do our auto button. So that would be this one. Rastafari. Let's give ourselves a little bit of breathing room. I lost my beautiful, beautiful. Ooh! What did I click? I didn't mean it. Whoa! No, I don't want to crop. The fuck? I didn't even know what I clicked. Hell no. You can be fucking cropping my shit, you little bastard. I feel like I'd rather do it the other way around. Ooh. Oh, that's a weird. Starlight, star bright. It's a little star in the sky. Ooh. Yeah, it's probably not the one we want for this. You're not the one that I want. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. You're not the one that I want. I don't know. This is not a karaoke stream. I don't know why I'm singing trash songs. I just am. I don't know. Brain rot. But that's the thing. Like, most people think the brain rot comes from the internet. I don't think it does. I think we've been brain rotted by society pre-internet. That's what I think. People talk about brain rot on the internet. Are you kidding me? Alright, Christmas #1 year in the UK was Mr. Blobby. Look, let me just, it's the worst piece of trash. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Mr. Blobby song. I've never been so ashamed to be British in my entire life when this became Christmas #1. I've never been more ashamed in my life. TV brain rot appealed before the internet. Exactly. This was #1. This. Who bought this? This should be in jail. They shouldn't be allowed out on the street. It's like the most low effort shit I've ever seen in my entire life as well. So this was basically a mascot character. Now the TV show was very popular, right? So it was a guy called Noel Edmonds called Noel's House Party. Now the show, I used to watch it every week. The show was fantastic and he was a good presenter and it was a good show. But this fucking thing, I hated it. It was just so annoying. So this used to be on like every weekend or whatever. But this fucking mascot was like the most annoying thing ever. And it became like he was Christmas #1. It's just like, what are we doing? So yeah, brain rot. Give me a break. I'd rather have internet brain rot than that brain rot any day of the week. Alright, so we want auto. UK version of Barney. No, that's an insult to Barney. I think Barney was way more likable than Mr. Blobby in my opinion. This thing was horrendous. Like it just like acted like a dick basically. It just went around. You probably see parts of it here. It just acted like a complete dick.
What are you packing for? Blob.
It's like, it's not funny, it's not entertaining, it's stupid.
No, it's wall-to-wall stars next week, Blob. You would not fit in New York. I'm sorry. I mean, look at you. They won't understand you. You're just going to represent Great Britain in a totally ridiculous way. And next week it's wall-to-wall star-studded show with great style. I'm sorry, you're not coming to New York. I'm sorry, but there's no room on the plane for you. No.
I don't know, like, it's got to be canned laughter. No one's laughing at that. It's pathetic. Yeah, I hate that thing. It's just like one of the worst mascots ever made. Totally unlikable. Right, I think that should look good. Button auto add. I think it's kind of obvious that that's going to automatically add the materials for you, right? Couldn't be any clearer, I don't think. I'm not sure why does Photoshop keep putting these grey lines around it though? I don't like these. I don't like the fact it's doing that. Yeah, it must be doing it in Photoshop because I really don't like. I know it's a silly thing, but like that really annoys me. It doesn't look. Yeah. What's up? Let me mute this. Right. The weird thing is I don't see those lines in Photoshop, so I don't. I think Unity's adding it, but I don't know why. It looks like shit. Oh, there we go. Okay, I managed to get rid of it. Do I want to keep it on there? I don't mind it on there as much. I got to admit though, it is kind of hard. Maybe I want to give it like a little outline or something. Maybe I want to give it like a purposeful outline, because I got to admit now that I've removed that. It's like, where do you click? Like, it doesn't look like a button anymore. Do you know what I mean? I can't even really see the dark purple behind the. I think I just need to change the color of it so that it looks more like a button. So if I, let's try inverting. Start by inverting the color. Yeah, and then we could change the color of the text, I guess. Yeah, I think that looks way better. Yeah, I think that looks way better actually. Because now it actually looks like a button, which it is. Right. Because I feel like a good interface, you should instantly know what everything is, right? You should know what's a button. You should know what's information. You should know where to click, what to do by just looking at it once. And if not, then I don't think it's a good interface. So it's going to be button auto add. I do need a toilet. Button auto add. There we go. And then we do our cancel and confirm on this side. So let me go PP first. Okay, yeah, we're looking good, we're looking good. So now confirm. Right, if I was doing this now, I can either click those, I can click auto. We'll say what level it is here. We can see the stats going up as we're doing it. That wasn't nice. I swear I just had a weird noise, a little squeak. Remember, no. Oh, but they gave us free polls in 7 days. We get another free 5-star login bonus. Has it been updated? Are they? That's sort of weird that they would line it up with Genshin. You ain't no Genshin. I know they want to be Genshin, but they ain't no Genshin. Okay. Right, so both of these buttons should use the same template actually, because they're both the same size. So what I can do is just keep one of them. And when we yeah, when they're really dark though, they're hard to see against. Let's go for a different color this time. We could even make each one a different color, right? Like confirm maybe should be a bit green, and cancel could be like a little bit of red. Maybe apply is better than confirm. It kind of makes more sense. That looks horrendous. That is the worst. That is the most disgusting button anyone's ever made in the history of buttons. That I should be ashamed. That is the most hideous button. Everything, I hate everything about it. I hate the color. I hate the brightness. I hate the plain black text. I hate the font. I hate the grey outline. I hate everything. I basically hate 100% of this button. It's hideous. Right, we're going to start by making it less hideous. That would be a good plan, wouldn't it? I do think like a green tint might be good, but my god, that looks horrendous. Yeah, that still looks horrendous. Get rid of that text. Right, we're better off going for more grey, more subtle colours, I think. So that looks even worse. That looks even worse. Alright, we're having a... I think that would honestly look better. Forget, I think the green thing's not gonna work. It looks too horrendous. We could go for green text. What if we go for like a super bright green text? I don't even like this font for this one. Why am I hating this font? Okay, I'm hating everything right now. Right, there was another font in the project. Let me take a look at my texts. It's called... Okay, one of them didn't look too bad. Is Child Kiss Heart didn't look too bad. Weird fucking name though. But we don't have that one installed. I assume we have it in the project though. If not, I might still have it in my downloads folder. Yeah, there it is. OTF. Let's try that one. I am struggling right now. See, now it doesn't match the theme of the game. I think the green needs to go. The green looks terrible. Yeah, green text is not going to work. I don't know if this is going to look like it belongs to the same game. Yeah, I mean my text buttons normally look like that. Maybe I should have just gone with that. But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. I got better luck. One new character banner. On new character banner. You got? Did you get the new girl? Congrats, congrats. Button cancel. Yeah, I always had decent-ish look on Ivy's banner, to be honest. It was just the standard banner that sucks the most. But you didn't want Ivy, so I guess you never experienced it that much. But it seemed a lot better than the standard banner. Okay, I think where yeah, I think that's looking decent. I think it's pretty clear what's happening. I think that's fine. Pity share between character banner and weapons banner seems nice. You get both early. Use Rest of Pity on a second copy of the character. Yeah, they don't share across banners though, I don't think. I don't think the standard and the limited banner share Pity though. Okay, I think that looks good. I think that makes sense. Yeah, that's looking good, I think. Happy with that. Okay, so now we need to start fleshing together a weapon level script. Looks good, thank you, thank you. Okay, upgrade weapon. I thought we had a P weapon class. We also... Fuck. That's alright, we can put a button maybe on the image somewhere. We also need some interface here for the rank. So if I grab on panel character, we have image rank. So if we bring that into here, we can show the rank. And we could make it so that you click the rank button or something if you want to rank it up. I'll show like a button next to it that says, you know, rank up or whatever. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll make a plus button that shows up. So if you are able to rank the weapon up because you have multiple copies, I'll create a plus button that appears next to rank that you can click, and then you can feed another copy of your weapon into it. So looks a bit too first aidy. That one looks good. I might make it like a purpley colour though. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Button rank up. That'll look a little bit cramped. It's not too bad. I know that. Does that look better above? Either put it there. I think that's fine. Or it might look better. Let me just make another copy so I can see which one I think looks better. It might be better to put it there. Which one feels better? That kind of almost feels more intuitive as well, because its arrows are pointing up and you're clicking up above the rank. So subconsciously it's almost saying you're ranking up because it's above the button. Silly little things like that, I genuinely think they actually make a difference. So I think that one makes more sense to put it above the word rank, because it's almost like subconsciously you're almost seeing it as ranking up because it's above the button. Silly little things like that I do actually think matter. Yeah, I think that's better. And it looks less busy. Yeah, that looks more organized as well. It looks better as well, I think. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Now we even have like a floor between like where this white is and that one. It like goes up there and this doesn't get in the way, whereas like you have this like weird crossover there. And also because these buttons are here, it just looks a bit busy over there. And it has the added benefit of, like I said, feeling like you're ranking up because it's above the rank button. Yeah, I like that a lot. Actually, that worked out a lot better than I thought it would. It looks really intuitive. Okay, one of these is not what it says it is. It's that one. That one is button apply. Okay. Oh boy. So I thought we had a P weapon class. Play data. Play data. Weapons. No, we have a P mat, which is a player material. We need a P weapon though, right? Okay, let me just hit run. What I need to understand is, are our weapons currently only stored in gacha assets? I think the answer is yes, because that needs to change. Gacha assets can't store levels. So we need a P weapon class. Okay. So the P weapon class is going to contain a weapon index for the weapon database. Not sure why I type index. Actually, we're not going to use a level, we're going to use XP. Okay, so we're going to start a weapon index, an amount of XP, and a rank. So now on player weapons, we need a P weapons manager. Boy, this is getting deep. Okay, so P weapons is going to need to generate a game object, apply the P weapon class, inherit the data from gacha assets, and then we're also going to use it in real time. We need to store, yeah, we need to store weapon level as well. Maybe I should extend, yeah, I should extend the class that I was building today, right? Makes sense. So in gacha assets, if I extend this struct, rather, it's not really a class, it's a struct. Oh boy. So this structure that we were working with earlier needs to change. We need an additional layer of levels starting at 1. So that now becomes 3. And everything's going to break because our current data structure in the database is not what we're expecting it to be. Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. Oh no, that's actually a different arrow. Okay, it would have try catched. Okay, it is updating the weapons though. Interesting. But it didn't, unless it added it on the end. Wait, what are we looking at right now? It duplicated everything. Everything's in here twice now. Oh boy! Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I need to delete these weapon keys. And Unity doesn't let you do multiple ones, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But I'm just going to have to persevere and do it. Unity, why won't you let me delete multiple entries at once on your website, you clowns? Just give us a column of checkboxes for fuck's sake, like anybody else would. Good job there's like only 30 weapons in the game, because if there was like 300, I'd have to do this 300 times. 30's bad enough. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. I'm just going to sink into my pit of despair. I'm also kind of worried about that UI state save system that I came up with, because that could backfire horribly if I make a mistake. Oh my god. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're on staffs. Now we're on swords. Should be like 7 swords. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Oh boy. Fucking hell. How am I I don't understand how I get to this point where, like, in the noon, at high noon, suddenly start yawning even though I've been up for, like, what is it, 4 hours? Longer? It's like some kind of delayed sleepy wake up routine. Ow. 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 Ugh. I need to get some energy from somewhere. I need some coffee. I should make some coffee. Coffee might wake me up, actually. Jesus. Actually, that would be a great idea. Coffee couldn't possibly make me feel any worse. Okay, what I need to do first is explain to Jibbity that this is a fantastical implementation, but I need it expanding. Because I'm not sure where it's... Stop yawning. Stop it right now. Stop that. You go downstairs and get some coffee in a second. Stop becoming some kind of yawning, tragic, sleepy waste of the universe. Alright? We can do better. Alright, so I'm going to explain. I need to make coffee. I already do. I need to pour it over my face. I need 2 cups of coffee. 1 to pour all over my face. That'll wake me up. And 1 I will drink. I think. What's the hold up, Jibbity? Don't you know I'm waiting to go and make a coffee? Why are you... What's with the extreme thinking? It's not that complicated. Says the guy who can't do it. No, I could do it. I didn't write. This is the problem, you see, because like it makes you dependent on it. Because like I didn't write this code, right? So even though I'm reading it, I don't fully understand what some of these things do. I've never used these fucking things here. I don't know what the fuck this is. No, I certainly wouldn't write anything that looks even remotely like that. So the only bit I really understand is this part here, where it's creating a default entry for a new weapon, which is the only thing we really need. But it also needs to retain any updated data from other systems. It's just not even answering me now. Maybe GBT needs a coffee as well. Maybe that's it. Maybe how about we go and make a coffee, and then GBT can have its digital coffee or whatever the fuck it does. Whatever the fuck GBTs eat. Human brains. I think GBT that would make sense, right? GBTs, large language models, eat human brains. How else would it do all this, right? It's the only logical explanation. Human brains. It's decided it doesn't, it's on vacation. It's completely given up. I broke Jibbity. Yay, we broke Jibbity. Now we have to do things for ourselves. We don't have to be a yawning, tragic mess anymore. Or at least once I go get a coffee. So let me go do that. Let me go make a coffee. I think it would help. The thing is, tea, I had a cup of tea this morning. Tea is supposed to have as much caffeine in it as coffee does, but I feel like it doesn't do the job as well. I'm also going to put my aircon back on because it's getting a bit warm in here, and heat always makes me sleepy as fuck. Make coffee then. Alright! Boss me around. Go and make coffee already. Jesus, stop talking about it. You know me, I have to talk about everything for 4 months before I actually go and do it. So let me explain what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a cup like this. I might even use this one. I might give it a rinse out as well. And what I do is I go and get the kettle and I fill it with water. You want to use water, not piss. Unless you like it that way, that's completely up to you. And what you do is you turn the kettle. All right, let me go do it. Oh, red text. Red text. Something went wrong. No shit. Something went wrong. If the issue persists, bugger off and try some other large language model. Looks good to me. Optional upgrade helpers. If you later want to upgrade a weapon's rank or level, yes, that's exactly what the system's going to do. You can build a helper like this. Okay, that's really useful. It's being helpful. So the first thing we need to do is make sure... Okay, I'm going to give it 2 tests. We're going to run it once and see if it creates the initial data for us correctly. Then we're going to run it again, make sure it doesn't duplicate that initial data like it just did the last time. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm built. I'm just a creature from some creature land. All I do is yawn and belch and play gacha games and shout at Jiminy and make out. Shout at AI. That's basically all I do is shout at AI. Shout at Chinese game developers who can't hear me. Looks good to me. Looks good to me, boy. Alright, let's just run it again and make sure everything looks a-okay. It shouldn't need to run through that very slow saving process. Yeah, it didn't. Okay, good. Because it found the data. So the data should still be intact then. Well, it must be because it didn't say it was updating the save table. So that looks fabulous. So if we can trust that, then we can probably trust the helper function. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that one's upgrade weapon rank, and I guess we would make a similar helper function that would upgrade the weapon level. So let's take a look at the... This wants to be a public function. So this one, I assume, just says level is like plus, so we upgrade it by 1 rank. Yeah, rank plus 1. So here we could say... See, I'm not sure. I think for this one we just tell it what level we want it to be. This time it's at index 2. Oh yeah, I guess we'll need to know which copy index as well, won't we? Ew. Oh Lord. Oh, that makes me realize something then. What we're going to need is the weapon index from the database and the copy index for the gacha system. So we're also going to need a public int of copy index so that we can return that back to the gacha system when it's time to update the gacha tables, the play data tables. Okay, there was a mistake in it apparently. Okay, beautiful. So now what we need to do is we need to store all this information when we retrieve it as to like how many copies of each weapon we have and what copy index it is and what rank it is and what level it is. We store it all locally here in P weapons so that this system for the interface can interact with it, and you know, we can level weapons accordingly. There's a lot of things we need to do. I have way too many classes open right now. Oh, excuse me. I'm not praying. I'm thinking. I'm praying a little bit. That I don't sneeze again. So I feel like I only have like another 400 sneezes left in me before I lose my last brain cell. It just goes flying straight out my nostrils. So I gotta be careful. That coffee tasted weird. I think it's because I just sneezed. Yeah, it didn't taste good. I know I didn't sneeze into the coffee, but that's what it tasted like. No, the coffee was over there. I definitely didn't sneeze into the coffee. But just probably that was my own after sneeze I was tasting. It was not nice. With a taste of after sneeze. I thought you said I am not pregnant. Did I? I don't remember. I don't remember claiming that. It would be a immaculate conception if it was. Maybe I have a new baby Jesus on the way. I could teach him to code. Or use GPT. Okay, so P weapons. We are going to need a list of P weapons. Let me think about this. Let me think about this. Let me think. See, we don't know what order weapons are going to be arriving on people's accounts, so like a weapon index isn't going to do as much good for a P weapons class because they're going to be in all kinds of weird and random orders. We need a separate entity for each and every copy of a weapon so that we can store specific information about it. But I'm just not sure how we organize it. I don't think we do organize it. I don't think we really can organize it. Okay, I think what we do because our gacha asset system doesn't store the information in its own local cache and it only reads and writes the data internally, the gacha asset system is going to need to be responsible for giving P weapons the ability to store information about a weapon and giving it everything it needs. So the first thing this needs, I would say, is a public function of add weapon. Now if we look at our P data structure class thing, our P weapon, shouldn't we still have it open? We do still have it open. Okay, let's put it over there so we can see it. This is the information we need to store about any said given weapon. So the gacha system can tell us everything except the weapon index. The weapon index, oh yeah, the weapon index is the index of the weapon in said database. That is actually is important so that we can get more information about a weapon, such as its name and its attack values and whatever, right? Okay, so that actually is important. So we need to take an integer when we are adding a weapon of weapon, those goddamn weapon, those goddamn women. I sound like some kind of misogynist, that's me. Yeah, this is not one of those streams. We're not going to red pill here. We're going to do an int copy index, which is the copy of said gacha weapon that the player has received from the gacha gains system. How much XP is stored on the server? Oh, I said level. Oh, it's okay. We can just call that XP instead. Yeah, I actually said level. So let's clear that up, because level is actually not correct. We're actually storing XP instead. And then we're going to calculate XP off an XP table. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then also an int of rank. So this is a very easy function actually, because we can just simply say p weapon, new weapon equals new p weapon, and then we just basically construct all of the things that we've received into the thing, right? So we can say new weapon index is weapon index. New weapon, look, it already knows what I want. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that beautiful? And then we want to add said weapon into our p weapons. So we're going to say p weapons add id. Oh, that's the wrong type of p weapons. That's the p weapons that we want. There we go. Alright, so we now have a function on our p weapons class which will allow us to register a copy of the player's weapon in our little p weapons database. So now we need to go back to our gacha assets system, and as we are doing weapon checks and we are reading this information, we should now go and register these weapons with the p weapons system. But before I do that, I need to teach my system controller about it so that we can access it. So we're going to register actually this should be on player data. Yeah, no, P stands for player data, so we actually don't want to do that. We'll access it through player data, otherwise the system gets a bit bogged down. Yeah, I remember now. This is how I like to do it. So if I go to my player data system, we can go to system p data and then get the p webs from player data, because P stands for player data anyway, so it should really be part of that class. So let me find my player data class, which should be on net, I believe. Apparently it's not. Is it part of RPG? I need to get more organized with this. Is it on core? Okay, it's on core. Yeah, I've got stuff all over the place here. It's hard to sort of delineate like what belongs to what, because it's like trying to categorize something that's like a billion different categories. So like I created a folder for like networking related scripts, and it's like, well, player data is networking because it's all stored on the server, but then it's also part of the RPG scripts because it's part of the RPG system. And it's also part of core services because it's also a core service. So it's like, well, which folder do I put it in? Because it's kind of all three. And you find that with a lot of these systems, right? So it's like, I still don't have a very easy way to separate these scripts out by type of what service they cover, because like I say, many of them cover many services. So it's like, well, where do I put this one? I'm going to abbreviate it to PWEPs. Okay, so now I need to go over to my player data class. If I can find it amidst all this mess. There we go. And I need to teach it about my P weapons system. There it is. Now we can access in our gacha. Oh boy. In our gacha assets system, we can easily access that now, which is nice. So we have our information. Where do we have our information? Oh boy. I suppose I don't have to do it like this. I think this might be a worse way to do it. Because this function is always, well, I suppose, would it check a weapon? Yeah, I should probably have my gacha system call check weapon as it's awarding items as well, which we will do at some point. But either way, essentially the thing we are relying on is gacha assets being updated in some way, shape or form. Either they're being loaded at start because we're resuming player data, or they're being changed because the player's doing gacha pulls, right, and getting new things. So since that's like it's not something that's going to be happening throughout the game willy-nilly, it's a very structured thing that will only happen in two circumstances, either on player load or on player gacha. You can have 3 levels in a dictionary. I didn't even know that. Huh. I am not used to working with dictionaries. Okay, how do I access the primary key of a dictionary? I guess like that. Before I do anything, I need to make sure that I understand exactly what I'm doing. But if I understand correctly, that should give me each copy index, which will be in linear order of each weapon that we own. So I should be able to say weapon dictionary for weapon key contains key that. And what I expect to see now, if I think I understand that correctly, is I should see 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, like for every single copy of every single weapon. That way we know that our outer loop is working correctly. And that we are iterating through every single weapon copy on the player's account. There it is, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 16. And that was for WA1. Then there's WA2. Yeah, so these are all the weapons that the player owns, essentially. These are the keys for them. So this will be our copy index right here. So that's useful. Okay, that's really good news. So we have get copy is our copy index. Let's look at our struct again. Okay, so our copy index is this one. Then this one was rank, and this one should now be XP. We also need to find it in the database as well. But maybe that shouldn't be gacha assets. Maybe that shouldn't be gacha assets job. Maybe we could do that as we're adding it into P weapons. Maybe that should be P weapons job. I mean, it's 6 of one and 1/2 dozen of the other, right? It doesn't really matter which script we give that responsibility to, as long as we find the index from said weapon. That should be pretty easy to do anyway, based on weapon. Actually, I think we can use index of. So to get, well, let's test that, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's actually pretty easy to do, because I have organized this pretty well, thank God. So I can get the weapon index. Get index should be as simple as saying system player data weapons. That's not player data. Weapons. This is game data. Index of weapons. Index of, but we don't have a weapon class. Can I get an index of something by name? I have the name. Did I do a helper function on weapons to say, like, get the index of something? I can do get weapon. Oh, there we go. So I could do get weapon of string weapon ID. Well, string weapon ID is key, basically. Weapon key. So that will return the weapon. And since we can use index of, we could say system weapons get index of and then pass it that weapon. There we go. That should give us the index. So let's add to this debug message saying what weapon index this weapon is found at, to make sure that all looks good. That should be correct though. Get index. So now we have 2 pieces of our data pie, 2 slices of our data pie that we need for our beautiful gravy filled data cream pie. Right, so we have here we go. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Well, that might be right. Yeah, maybe they're not even in order. So it's saying that WA01 is in the database as index 9, so we can check that. So if we go into our weapons database and we look at index 9, that is the chipped hatchet. So that would be WA01. There it is. So that is correct. And then these are all the copies of that particular weapon. What's up? Hang on. Just give me a sec. Give me a sec. Right, I'm probably gonna need to end the stream there. We've got some family issues and stuff, so I'm gonna deal with that. Yeah, these do seem to line up. Yeah, because it didn't start at 0. I'm such a deja vu right now as well. It's so weird. Okay, yeah, I think that's working great. So I'll leave it there and go and deal with some family things. Alright, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll be back on next chance I get. I will see you later. Bye.